Have you ever found yourself on social media and you didn't even realize you'd been on that long and you're just mindlessly scrolling? Or maybe it's binging a Netflix series. Maybe that was the timer to remind me to go live. Maybe you binge Netflix. Or maybe you just sit there and your motivation, you know you've got things you need to do, but just getting up and getting them done. We have a molecule issue. There might be. My name's Kristen. I'm not a doctor. I'm a magnesium advocate. And I've been talking about soaking in magnesium for over 25 years. Let's talk about your magnesium levels. And maybe you felt like this didn't work, or you thought, I've been soaking, nothing's happening. Let's go deeper and do a deeper dive and talk about the molecules, the role magnesium plays with the molecules, how to increase the sensitivity to those molecules, because when that foundation's working, you don't need to Netflix binge. You don't need to scroll on social media. Now, there's nothing wrong with being on social media. There's been lots of studies done that most people who are on social media feel like they're on it too much. And so there could be some, just scrolling. Let's fix those molecules and flood the cell with the happy molecule. Started in the 1940s, there was a series of studies done that when you move, your body contracts with calcium and then it floods with magnesium if you have enough. Floods the cell with magnesium, and that makes the cell more sensitive to dopamine, which is your reward and motivation molecule, endorphins, which is your happy molecule, serotonin, which stabilizes molecule, GABA, which calms, calcium fires, magnesium releases. If you've ever had low vitamin D, that means you simply did not have enough magnesium. You cannot have low vitamin D without not having enough magnesium. And then let's go pop back to those molecules and what happens when we move. In fact, I'm so adamant about this, Shelley. Well, I have timers and I always invite whoever I'm working with. Typically, it's Shelley. I'm like, okay, we got to move. Because I want that contraction happening. I want the calcium contracting my muscles so they open up to be flooded with magnesium, to be sensitive to the dopamine, the endorphins, the serotonin, the GABA. I want my cells to be sensitive to that. And if you're starting on magnesium and your body doesn't have enough, then we have a molecule issue. And then you're not doing those things that internally you're creating all of those. Then you start looking outside of yourself to create that feel good, that reward, that motivation, the calm, the happy. You start looking outside to create that, and that's where disconnect in our health comes. And it all happened because your interstitial space did not have enough magnesium. Soaking in magnesium has been shown to fill the interstitial space, which is just around your cells, so that when your cell needs it, it can flood the cell with that magnesium, which has been shown to improve the communication with dopamine, endorphins, serotonin, GABA, all of those things that help us to feel good, that help us to show up as at the best version of ourselves. And one of the reasons I think I talk about this so much is I wasn't the best version of myself raising my kids. I wasn't the best version. And there's some sadness there. Now, I've let a lot of it go. good conversations with my kids, taking accountability on my end, there's still some sadness there. I want to help people recognize the power of your interstitial space. I've got so many timers going off so that I'm staying on track. I want to help people understand the power of soaking in magnesium. It's not the same as taking a pill. A pill is a band-aid approach. Yes, there are benefits. There are studies galore. It's easy to ship. It's a synthetic magnesium that goes down a conveyor belt. It's heated. It's isolated. Isolated nutrition doesn't work. We know that. Have you ever heard of studies, or maybe you've experienced it yourself? I feel better when I'm in European countries. They don't have all the fortification in their food. Synthetic nutrition doesn't work. Yet we can still, and I know I do too, we can still fall into that trap that it does. When you soak in magnesium and you fill your interstitial spaces, you are creating connection for your body to contract with calcium, flood with magnesium, open up, and be more receptive. Have you ever talked to somebody and you thought, you are not getting what I'm saying. You cannot even comprehend this. Have you ever had that thought? Like, oh, this communication is not going two ways. They're not open to what you're saying. Well, that happens on the outside, also happens on the inside. Your cells have to be receptive. We have a generation that has struggled with more mental health than any generation ever. Let's make sure their molecules are in place. Soaking in magnesium helps their cells be more receptive. And instead of doom scrolling, instead of being too long on social media, instead of binging, now, and there's nothing wrong if you want to do those things. I'm not throwing out shame. I know I can spend too much time. So I'm sharing a solution with you that's helping me. Okay. So I'm not wagging from the top saying, oh, I'm in the trenches going, I've been on social media too long, and it always correlates with how my body is uptaking with magnesium. So let's talk about solutions. You've soaked in magnesium. You're like, Kristen, I have soaked in magnesium. I don't think I feel any difference. It's that your cells are not receptive to the magnesium, meaning your body might not be making the connection of calcium contracting, magnesium opening and flooding. And that's where the sensitivity to communication happens, that your cell recognizes dopamine, GABA, serotonin, endorphins, where you just feel good. And if you're not getting that when you move, that feel good molecule, it's a magnesium issue. And so if you're just pounding out, I know I need to move, but you don't feel good while you're doing it, you don't get that boost. It's because there's not enough magnesium in the interstitial space to flood the cell, to create a sensitivity and a connection, the spark plug. That's what magnesium is. It's a spark plug. Let's talk about now and I want to share with you some solutions that I see working to help your body utilize and be more sensitive to the magnesium. And remember, I am not a doctor. I am not diagnosing. I'm not telling you what to do. I love to share what I've learned, what's working for me, what's working for my family, and what I see working for my clients. And I've been doing that for 25 years. And the beautiful thing is I have all this data to share with you. This worked. Ooh, this didn't work so great. And so let's dive into my notes. These are not studies that you can find somewhere. This is my personal notes from what I've learned over the 25 years of working with clients. So please take that. I'm laying it at your feet and you take what works for you. Okay, awesome. Here we go. A simple one is taurine. Taurine is a simple amino acid that holds magnesium in the cells, because you might be soaking in that magnesium, but if you're not holding in the cell, it's just going right through you. I don't want that. I want maximum benefit from my soaking time. And you don't have to have your blood work done. I do want to bring your blood work up though, and help you understand that testing after you've done that 30-day challenge, or you've soaked a while. I'm also a systems girl. My goodness, if I didn't have systems, and I had someone come into my home and say, I was talking about something, and they're like, you have to plan and schedule for that? You bet I do, or it wouldn't happen. So that works for me. Please take from this and make it work for you. Healthy women have strong filters, and they filter information that's coming at them. I'm a systems girl. I love the 30-day challenge. I have a goal. I know what I'm supposed to do. I know I don't have to be perfect in my action. Soaking every day for 30 days, hitting 70 to 80% of that, and then testing my magnesium levels. If at that point you do not hit a 5, we have a crack in your foundation, in my opinion, of someone who is not a doctor, will never be a doctor, is not prescribing or telling you what to do. There's a crack in your foundation, because after 30 days, the minimum you should be at is a 5. Taurine is a simple amino acid. You can get it in food form. You can get it in supplement form. I see it working more effectively in supplement form more quickly once you're low. It's something that you don't want to take too much of for too long, because it can disrupt thyroid. Anytime we're taking synthetic nutrition, we're disrupting something else, because if we're taking it as a supplement, it is synthetic isolated form. A short term can be incredibly appropriate. You have to make that decision. It is for me every once in a while to add that supplement of taurine to make sure I'm holding that magnesium in my cells, because what a waste of time, money, and energy to soak in magnesium and not have maximum benefits. I am all about minimum input, maximum output. Taurine, start at the lowest. 500 milligrams is usually the lowest dose that I see. Man, when you start hitting 1,500 or 2,000, ooh, we can have some thyroid problems. And it's not, in my opinion, it's not one you stay on. It's one you step in, you utilize, you make sure you're eating taurine-rich foods, utilize it quickly, get that magnesium. Sports people, a lot of people will come and say, Kristen, my kids, they're cramping after the football, or they're doing their ballet and their muscles are very taxed. And so you can have muscles that are utilized all of the time and have them worked. You have to offset that with magnesium. Those muscles need more magnesium. If you're at that elite stage of you're doing that football every day, you're doing the ballet lessons every day, they need more magnesium, because as they contract and fire and flood, contract, it fires it up, and then you flood with magnesium. They need more magnesium because their body's doing that so much. That's where you must, in my opinion, you must make sure that your magnesium intake fits your lifestyle. You can't match it to mine. I can't match it to yours, because even though we have the same foundational needs of voltage in the cell, of energy in the cell, our bodies work very differently. And what you do for yours and what I do for mine determines and dictates how often you need to soak. So that's why, personally, if possible, do the 30-day challenge, get that test done, find out, is my body utilizing it? Am I at a 5? Because some people, and here's what we must remember, some people don't think they feel anything because their vagal nerve tone is shot. They have been in fight or flight for so long that they don't get that feedback from their body, or they've been in pain for so long. Migraine people, I see this all of the time. A migraine person has to push through and disconnect to be functional in society. The pain of that migraine is so debilitating. And so migraine people, I see this pattern a lot because they've had to disconnect from their body to show up when that migraine hits. And after the and interestingly enough, after the migraine, did you know the migraine just takes you down? I don't know if it's 0, but the study showed it drops your dopamine, your endorphins, your serotonin, your GABA. One migraine drops that and your body has to rebuild. Well, a lot of migraine people, before they've rebuilt, they've had another migraine. And so they're staying in that low dopamine, low endorphin, low serotonin, low GABA. And so the migraine person is saying, I'm not feeling it. And part of it is the disconnect and the molecule issue. So we've got to get in there and make sure that we're course correcting. And so sometimes that's why you're not, quote, feeling it or experiencing the benefits, is constant fight or flight and the disconnect that sometimes needs to be there. My husband experiences chronic pain and has for years, and made the decision when he was laying there in the hospital bed. He'd kind of grouched a little bit at a nurse. I had some water. And he thought, I will never make anyone pay for the pain that I'm in. And he doesn't. He has to disconnect at a certain level to manage that pain. And so if you are someone who experiences pain, your magnesium journey is going to be different than what mine is because of that pain molecule, that pain receptor that needs to open and close with magnesium. So that could be a reason. That's why gosh, there used to be this ad. Gosh darn it, Josh Barnett, and my kids still say it. It was the most effective advertising. It was this trailer. I don't even know what he said, what he did, or what he was advertising. But gosh darn it, Josh Barnett, I don't even know who he is. Testing that's going to give you that feedback so that you know, okay, I'm uptaking this. I might not be feeling it, but I'm at least at a 5. Now, the taurine will help. Simple hydration. Well, oh, look at that cute flower on there. Simple hydration will help because magnesium is hydrophilic, meaning a hydrated body, it moves through. Now, some people will say, oh, I'm hydrated, but they're drinking the water, but it's not at the cellular level that they're hydrated. So making sure that you've got the electrolytes, that voltage. So let's see, I don't know if you can see. Can you see the little salt granules in there? I've got salt in my water. Now that's a good fit for me. And it helps my body because the salt opens up the cell for the water to go into the cell. So a hydrated cell, not just drinking lots of water because we've got a disconnect there now. A hydrated cell for the magnesium to move in. That's another thing that will help you move your magnesium more. Balancing that voltage. And if that voltage isn't balanced, you're not hydrated, even though you might be drinking 90 ounces of water a day. So making sure that input is being utilized for hydration at the cellular level, that can make a huge difference. Another one that's very beneficial, but it's not for everybody, and that is boron. Boron is another one that will help you decrease inflammation and hold on to the magnesium. Now, before you jump into the world of boron, you've got to do some research there, because someone who has polycystic ovarian syndrome, boron is going to create your hormones converting more to testosterone faster. So it's going to make your polycystic ovarian syndrome, PCOS, it's going to make it worse. Boron is not for everyone. It's powerful. It's a powerhouse mineral that comes from the earth. Adding that can reduce inflammation almost immediately. Back in the day, do any of you remember, or did any of you come into my little shop there in Logan? So back in the day when people would come in and I'd mix them a little drink and then they would drink it. And it was so interesting to watch. It was almost like they didn't trust their body, because they'd be like, and they'd move like, oh, no, oh, what? That feels better. Maybe their shoulder or their knee. And so they'd put it in all sorts of different positions that typically would have increased their pain level to find that pain, realizing the boron helped it that much. Now, boron is not one that you stay on all the time, because for anyone, too much of it can create an imbalance in your hormones. And hormones are powerful, and we don't want to create imbalance. So that's another one that you can utilize, but don't underestimate the power of boron and what it does in your body. It does help drop inflammation. And when you do that, your interstitial spaces fill more efficiently. Let's talk about another one. And here's where I love working one-on-one with clients, because we can get in and really determine which one of these pathways is blocking you from moving your magnesium levels. And sometimes it's 2 pathways, sometimes it's 3 pathways. This next pathway can make a difference, because yes, I have magnesium. I want to be in control of the supply chain. My control freak side comes out. I want it the best. I never want it from flakes. I never want it diluted. I want it from the genuine Inside Zechstein. Did you know most of the magnesium being sold now is road magnesium? And it doesn't even qualify to make steel because of the impurities. And you can pull the impurities out, but there's always some left over. And it does not have the ability to move the interstitial spaces like a pure, undiluted brine of magnesium. Yes, I have it. I sell it. But more importantly, and what I think is the right thing to do, is to teach you how to use less of it, so that the efficiency of soaking in magnesium is optimal for myself and for you. So you're soaking less often because you understand the pathways of what your body needed to put that magnesium in the interstitial space, so that when the calcium contracts, the magnesium can come in, flood the cell, open it up, and it becomes more sensitive to everything. Dopamine, GABA, endorphins, serotonin, melatonin, insulin. All happens when the cell contracts and the magnesium comes in, floods, and then it opens. Your pain receptors are the same thing. Sometimes people are experiencing pain because you don't have enough magnesium to shut the pain receptor down to signal to the body the pain is gone. That's why some people experience such a pain difference, because their body can start shutting down those receptors that have been signaling pain. You have to have magnesium to shut that down. And that person in pain can get in a loop, because the pain burns through the magnesium faster. And you have to take that into account. You need more magnesium, because we want those pain receptors shut down. When you're not in pain, we want it shut down. We want that signal stopped. And you might have to soak more than I do for a while to get that balance happening. Let's go to one that is so efficient and can make a difference today. And that is your digestion, your gut. Haven't you heard everything starts in your gut? When you are focused at relaxing, in fact, let's do it right now together. You've relaxed your gut in that moment. The first thing I do, my eyes pop open, I take 3 big, deep breaths. Because when your gut is relaxed and calm, it can step into creating more hydrochloric acid to break down and utilize nutrients in your body. And that will change your magnesium levels. That right there changes your magnesium. Now, that's an individual journey. And I don't mean, I think a lot of times we want that quick fix. You might need a betaine protocol. You might need to just focus on fight or flight and checking. I have a timer that goes off at 9, dance. At 9:05, you're done. It's just my move. At 10, dance. At 10:05, you're done. At 11, dance. At 11:05. At 12, dance, and then go to lunch. You might want to set some kind of system just to help you remember, am I in fight or flight? Am I calm? Sometimes just tapping your fingers. Sometimes it's rubbing your fingers. Sometimes it's just crossing your body. Oh, that one just really, I felt that relaxation come in. And let me get up a little bit. I'm just doing this, crossing in front of my body anytime. Maybe that's getting up and moving. I've got to get this chair painted every time I see it on camera. And maybe that's just moving and crossing your body this way. That's one of the things that I do when that timer goes off at 9:00. And I even figured out on the app on my phone, I added music. So at the top of every hour, there's different music that plays that really gets my heart moving. Like Dancing Queen, ABBA, anybody else? So I don't even have Bon Jovi on there. Oh, that is wrong. I need to go add some Bon Jovi. But movement is going to relax your gut and change your hydrochloric acid. Some people are too high, some people are too low. If you burp, have gas, bloat after a meal, not a doctor, but you might want to look into hydrochloric acid and seeing where it's at. If when you use the bathroom, you have undigested food, that can be a hydrochloric acid issue. And so being out of fight or flight. Now, I've had to really retrain my body because meals were very stressful for me, not blaming anyone else. For me, growing up, meals were very, very stressful. And so I was constantly, and so my body created that pattern. Now, my husband's family, it was a party. It was an absolute party. I'll never forget eating there the first time. Like, people are laughing and telling jokes, and I've learned how to relax. And sometimes I still fall back into that habit. Better gut function will help you uptake and utilize your magnesium more efficiently. And better gut function is the simplest of things. It's taking the time to enjoy. I open my window so I can hear the birds. They calm me down. Watering my flowers calms me down. I do little things throughout the day. Pumping my feet at my desk. I have a little pillow that I put my feet on because it's better for brain health. And just pumping my feet, lifting my heels up, helps those molecules to build. And then soaking in magnesium contracting the cell, bringing that magnesium in. I love it. So if you don't hit a 5, or if maybe you don't test, and that's okay. You don't have to test. I do see a lot of benefits from testing, but it might not be a good fit for you right now, and that's okay. If you don't feel, if you don't think it is happening for you when you soak, let me know in the comments below. Which of those things sounds like it might be a part of your journey that you need to look into and take action on? Because we're the most educated sick people that have ever been on the planet, ever. We know so much about health. Oh my gosh, there's so much information. We have to take action. And that's why almost always I want to ask you at the end, if you've been here with me, and thank you for being here with me, tell me, what is your action? What is that action piece? Now, if you're an introvert, that can feel really uncomfortable, leaving it in the notes, in the comment section. And that's okay. Don't. Write it down. Get it in the physical realm. Get it outside of your body in the physical realm. I'm a post-it note kind of girl. I have these everywhere, and I have, oh my gosh, I have to show you the awesome pen. Look at this. Oh, that's from a trip we took. Anyway, pen and a post-it note if you're not comfortable putting it in the note section. Extroverts and introverts have different ways of healing. So if you don't want to leave it in the comment section, that's fine. Write it on a note. I just want you taking a micro action from the life. Those who take a micro action are those who tend to take another micro action. And when I first started my journey, I wanted the big, I'm going to do all these things. I know them, and I'm going to change 50 things in my life. And I never stuck with it past 2 weeks. And then the more I worked with people and noticed patterns, what are the patterns of people who are healing efficiently and quickly? And going from they can barely come in to connect with me on their appointment to they're feeling great and telling me about all the things they did over the weekend. What is that difference? And it's micro actions. A micro action you could take right now is just writing down what you learned. Maybe there was a connection that you made, the most powerful takeaway, or maybe it's writing down, oh, I want to look into the Betaine protocol. Or maybe it's I'm soaking in magnesium doing my 30-day challenge and I want to add some taurine. What's your action piece? Now, I would love to know if you're comfortable leaving it in the note section. I would love to know what it is that you're going to do to help your body become a magnesium machine, to help it work more efficiently. And to do that, the foundation must be strong. We can chase hormones. We can chase brain health. We can chase autoimmune. None of it will be as efficient if we don't have that foundation set up correctly. Voltage to the cell, magnesium, potassium, and salt. Voltage to the cell. And then after we have that strong foundation and we've focused on our body's got enough magnesium, potassium, and salt needs you've got figured out. I tend to have low blood pressure, so I do more salt than my husband does. He doesn't have low blood pressure. Mine tends to be low and has since I was a little girl. So I take more salt than he does. Adjusting the things that you've learned and making sure they're a part of your routine. And then you build that strong foundation, and then you look around and you go, okay, what's going on with my body? Am I sleeping? Am I waking up with energy? Am I feeling better? Is my inflammation down? And for some people, it's like, oh, I'm done. I just am maintaining now. Other people need to go on to other pathways with things that they have going on in your body. If you've built that strong foundation, all the work that you're doing will be 1,000 times more beneficial. I've seen it over and over for 25 years. I've watched that pattern. Micro actions, baby, all the way. Micro actions. My name's Kristen. I'm a magnesium advocate, and I'm going to the first ever magnesium, what are they called? Symposium. And I'm going to sit in a room with doctors and scientists and take notes and listen and learn that are all sold on transdermal magnesium because they haven't been doing the studies on it. And some people need to have that study before, because there's some garbage studies that were done that say it doesn't work, but they didn't understand back then that magnesium is utilized through your sweat glands. And you have more sweat glands in your feet than any other part of your body. So when you're soaking in magnesium, if you're in the tub, get your feet down in that water. If you're in a bowl of water, it's as efficient as the bathtub. Minimum of 20 minutes of soak. Oh, let's see this one. Minimum of 20 minutes of soaking, 45. 20 minutes, you'll get about 80%. 45 minutes, you'll get about 98%. Changes a little bit per person, but that's, a good baseline of what happens after all the testing I did. And 20 to 45 minutes. And if you don't have 20 minutes, don't waste your magnesium. Quarter of a cup. My husband uses 3 capfuls. That's about a quarter of a cup. I measure. Whatever works for you. If you're soaking in a bowl, do not soak in plastic. It cuts the uptake. And I have to address this, and then we're done. Okay. Oh, I love that, Shelly. Get up and do movement instead of scrolling. Same. Shelly, I'm so glad you brought that up. I find myself scrolling or binging when I want to avoid emotion. And your ability to sit with uncomfortable emotions is directly linked to your ability to heal. I'll die on that hill. The two are connected. And so that scrolling and that binging could be. Now I'm not saying for you. I just want you to think, I'm laying it at your feet. It could be one of the reasons that's keeping you from being healthy. Not being willing to sit with that emotion and how uncomfortable it is. And so making that balance work for you. And I have a daughter, it's so interesting. I sent her last night a social media post and she went, "Oh, thanks, Mom. I'll look at this tomorrow. My social media time is done." And she has, I don't know if it's an app or something she's done on her phone. She is literally locked out of social media. I was so proud of her. What a boundary. What a boundary that she has set. She knows if she enjoys social media just like I do, but if she's on it for, I think she said it was 30 minutes, longer than 30 minutes a day, and it started to change her mental state. And so she set up that really strong boundary. In fact, she's going to come over and I'm going to have her help me. Like, okay, what'd you do? Because that was impressive to me. She's willing to sit with uncomfortable emotions and I don't know if she was avoiding emotion or not. She just recognized I don't feel as good when I'm just doing this all of the time. So soaking in magnesium. Bridget, oh, what a beautiful name. I don't know if this is an appropriate place, but do you still recommend celery juice to help with stomach acid? For some people, it is amazing. Other people, it's not a good fit. It will cause distress at a level that they've never experienced. They have to be right by the bathroom and they can't conquer that. And so that can be a bacteria issue in the gut. But for some people, for me, celery juice is fantastic. Thank you for bringing that up. It's so hard to fit all the things in 30 minutes that I want to. And so, yes, for some people, not for everyone though. I used to buy into, there were things that everybody had to do, and I just don't anymore. You might not be ready to soak in magnesium. If you have been so deficient for so long, you got to up your potassium before you even start soaking. You got to prep yourself. You got to get in there and prep before it even happens. Thanks for being here. I want my cells to contract with calcium, to be flooded with magnesium, to open up for more communication, more nutrition, more sensitivity to dopamine, melatonin, serotonin, endorphins, GABA, all those good things, insulin. And it takes having magnesium in the interstitial space. Do you know where yours is? Do you know? Do you have enough? Do you have enough right now? If not, let's get you soaking. Go check out the website, livingthegoodlifenaturally.com. And I do these lives Mondays and Wednesdays-ish. There are some times I miss. I have a good journal I would love for you to be a part of. I do a masterclass once a month where we're on Zoom. I can see your face. It's my favorite. And we dive a little bit deeper into topics. It's free, but you have to. The only place I put the link is those who have joined the Good Life Journal. And that way, it's just a little wall of protection. I've done it before where I just streamed it and we start getting people who leave comments that aren't appropriate. So it's just a little wall of protection. So I'd love for you to join that Good Life Journal. Thanks for joining me today. I am getting up and I'm moving. I am going to move my body as soon as this live is over. Remember that happy molecule, your muscles contracting, opening, closing, that helps create and fire the molecules. Magnesium makes you sensitive to it. Movement, it's everything. Movement is life. How often are you moving? And are you soaking in magnesium to the level that you need with where your body's at right now? Because your needs will change. And they're supposed to. It's a journey. It's not a straight shot to creating or maintaining health. It's not this linear thing. It's this pathway that goes like this. And even when you're healthy, you still have off days. I think sometimes we can build it in our head in a way that good health means every day we feel great and we never feel awful. Even in maintenance, when you're maintaining your health, you still have days you don't feel as good. That's part of the journey. Embrace it. Get those molecules recognized in your body by soaking in magnesium. Get those numbers up. It's the key. It's the foundation. It unlocks your vitamin D. And we all know that having stored vitamin D that converts to active vitamin D is the gateway of health. And it takes magnesium to do that. So I will see you on Wednesday. I'll read through the comments and the notes to determine, where should we go on Wednesday? This is more the basics, and Wednesday is a little bit deeper dive on a single topic. And so those comments will drive what happens on Wednesday. I can't wait to see you then. Bye-bye. There we go.